Today, we're going to be building a fully automated asset-first lead gen system in Make.com. Let's do it. All right, so as these automated AI lead gen systems are kind of taking over the market, the bar to get replies as part of these cold email campaigns continues to go up. All right, so we need to get better. We need to offer more value up front in our cold email sequences in order to even get reply rates anymore, just because all these AI systems are going crazy. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how to build an asset-first lead gen system that essentially is going to scrape a lead's website, retrieve copy off that website, 3 examples, and then use AI to write and create a Google Docs copy optimization report, I'm calling it. It's going to look something like this, that is going to be uniquely tailored for each lead's website. And it's going to provide 3 examples of copy from their website, why that copy could be improved, and then our suggested rewrite and why our rewrite is better, okay? And we're going to give them 3 examples of this. And then at the end, if you want to chat, hit us up. Okay, so each lead is going to get their own custom copy optimization report that looks like this, okay? And we're going to dynamically fill in all these fields with AI, all right? This is all going to happen automatically, so we don't actually have to do any of this. We just got to set it up once and then let it run. Theoretically, because we're providing value up front and we can say, hey, I'm not asking anything of you. I put this report together for you to improve the copy on your website. Here it is if you want it. This should theoretically improve our reply rates and then help us book more calls where we can then pitch our actual copywriting services, for example. All right. Now, you don't need to do exactly this. In this example, we're pretending to be a copywriter, and so we're providing copywriting improvement examples. But you can, you can imagine how you could apply this to any different industry. Maybe you send some images or whatever it is to whatever industry you're targeting. This should give you a sense of how to do it automatically. All right. So once we create that document, we're going to do some AI personalization and then set up an instantly campaign to kind of blast all these folks. All right. We're going to be using Apollo to scrape our leads and Make.com to build our automation. All right. So without further ado, let's hop into this thing. Okay, so step number 1 is I'm going to come into Apollo here and we need to get some leads. Okay, so again, I'm pretending to be a copywriter and I want to sell my copywriting services to SaaS companies in North America. Okay, so for me, I've created a list, a custom search for myself where I'm essentially just filtering for verified emails. I'm only going to be emailing founders and co-founders, so decision makers who can actually pull the trigger and make decisions. North America. And then I'm searching for industry keywords of just SaaS, okay? And I'm getting a bunch of people here, so about 21,000 people, contacts with verified emails in North America that work or that have founded or co-founded a SaaS, okay? And so once I have this, and you've probably seen this in multiple of my videos now, all I need to do is just kind of come grab this search URL here, head over to Appify, and we're going to go and use this Apollo scraper here from CodeCrafter. All right, and then all you need to do is just literally paste in the search URL, say how many leads you want to pull. We're going to do 100 here. We're going to get work and personal emails, and then we're just going to go save and run this thing. It costs $1.20 for 1,000 leads. It's pretty cheap. All right, so while that's going, I'm going to actually come back to Make, and we're going to set up a new scenario, and we're going to call this Asset First Lead Gen System. We're going to pretend to be working for a company today called CopyBuddy. Okay, so that's our copywriting company. All right, so while this is running, we're going to add an Appify module. And this is what's going to trigger our workflow. So we're going to watch actor runs. All right, we're going to set up a new webhook, Appify demo webhook. Make sure you're connected to your Appify account. All right, and then we're going to go find the actor that we want, which is this LinkedIn job scraper. I'm sorry, that's not it. Oh, sorry, I'm on a different account. Which account am I on? I think this is it. Okay. All right, and so we're going to hit save, and then that should be set up. And I just want to make sure this is going to work. We've got a little bit of time here, so we're going to add a second Appify module. And this is going to be our get dataset items module. Again, make sure you connect to the right Appify connection. I think it's this one. We'll see. You want to pull in your dataset ID. And I'll talk about this in just a second. And we'll just bump this up. We'll hit save, and then let's run this and just make sure we're connected right here. So once this is done running, our webhook is going to fire here, and we're going to trigger our automation, okay? Now, if you've seen any of my videos in the past, you kind of know why we need to do both of these modules, both of these Avify modules, but I'll explain it briefly here while we wait. So this first module, Watch Actor Runs, is just going to trigger our workflow. It's just going to return information about the actual actor. So it's going to return the price that we paid to run this bot, the start time, the end time, all that kind of good stuff. But it's not going to return our Apollo leads, okay? It's just going to return the actual info about the bot that ran. In order to get the information out of the bot, the scraped data, we need to get dataset items and feed in that default dataset ID from our first run. And so this triggers our workflow, and this basically unpacks all the information from our bot so that we can use it. All right, and so that's what we're doing here. So we're just going to wait here for a second until this is done. Oh, it looks like it's done, and let's see. Perfect. Okay, so I hooked up to the right account, and you can see, I'll show you quickly here, how we don't have any like Apollo data here. It's all just like random bureaucratic data about this bot, okay? Only until we come here to this module do we actually get bundles, and we should have 100 bundles of actual leads from Apollo. So that is looking good. So now that we are getting that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, while we test, I'm going to copy this default dataset ID. I'm going to unlink this and move this here. And I'm just going to paste this in manually for now. Okay. And so while we test, I don't want to have to run this bot every time to get new leads. We're just going to pull it in automatically every time. Okay. And we'll reset this at the end so that this is all running automatically. But for now, we are pulling in leads from Apollo. Now, what we want to do, again, is we want to scrape each of these leads' website for their copy, all right? And then we want to suggest copy improvements on their website and then send them that custom report. And so we can see if we go into one of these bundles and we go to organization, we have, let's see, do we have it on this one? This guy's a little shortchanged. Let's go to bundle 3. So if we go to organization, we have the website URL here for most of these bundles. All right. And so if we have a website URL, we can scrape it by making an HTTP request. All right. And when we scrape the website with that request, we're going to get all the HTML off that homepage, and then we can kind of manipulate it with a bunch of different tools that we'll use. Okay. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to add an HTTP module, and we're just going to make a request. Okay. The URL is going to be just our organization URL, which for some reason I'm not getting here. So little trick here is if you need to manipulate this make.com module, you can just come in here, paste it, and this should work. So website, I just want to make sure that it's called website. And the reason I'm doing this is because bundle 1 doesn't actually have an organization website. It's actually called website URL. Okay, so let me come in here, paste this, and then I'll come copy this back over here. All right, there we go. That should be good. Okay, and then get method, and then we're gonna go to advanced, and we're just gonna make sure that we are following redirects, following all redirects, and then we're gonna hit save. Now, something to note about this HTTP request, when you scrape websites, some of these websites, it's not gonna work. They have security things on there that basically stops this from working, or there's redirects and it kind of like messes it up. So we will get some errors here. We won't get all of these. And so in order to get around that, instead of stopping our scenario every time we hit an error, we're just going to add an error handler here and just choose ignore. Okay. And so that way, if there's ever an error on this module, it'll just ignore it and keep running. Okay. Now, one other thing I think I want to do is, and we've already kind of seen this, is if I don't have a website, if no website URL, I don't want to continue. So I'm going to say website URL exists. Okay, so if the website exists, we're going to actually scrape it. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let's run one of these. I'm going to set a limit here to, let's do 2 of them just to test. And let's run this and see what kind of data we're getting here. Okay, so both of these had a website URL, which is good. So we scraped both of them. And you can see here that, let me move this over for you guys. If I come to data, you can see we get all this data in HTML format from the front page of this website. All right, and this website is, what is that? prospects.io. Okay, so I can show you what this website looks like. So it looks like this. Okay, so we basically just scrape this front page right here. All right. And so we get that all back in HTML down here, which is great. Now we need to do a bunch of cleanup here, but we're getting live data now that we can use and manipulate to create value for somebody in the form of a report or a different asset. Okay. So this is looking good. All right. So what do we do next? So the next thing we need to do is we need to somehow almost cut down all this data. So, I mean, we're getting just thousands and thousands and thousands of characters here. Too much to feed into like an OpenAI module. Now, like we could theoretically, if we didn't care about the cost of running an OpenAI module or the amount of tokens that we're using, if we had unlimited money, we could just probably feed this entire HTML into OpenAI and say, hey, pick 3 sentences that you think you could improve the copy of, and then let's rewrite it. The problem with that is though, I mean, each of these websites, some of these could be, I don't know, millions of characters. I'm just saying stuff, hundreds of thousands of characters, which we're not going to do. So because that's not really feasible, what we want to do is somehow filter out most of this, 99% of it, and just leave us with like copy that we could improve. So let me show you an example of what we're going to do. So if I go to my website and I just inspect it, you can see like our HTML is like, it's structured like this in different sections, divs. Each thing has a different tag. We can see that right here. This is my H1 class or my H1 tag. And so, you know, we could theoretically, for each of these websites, we could somehow filter for just H1 tags or H2 tags or H3 tags. And maybe that would like at least filter down 99% of all this mumbo jumbo here and give us some like actual like concrete text that we could use. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. Now, most websites, like mine, they're just going to have like one H1 tag. Okay. The H1 tag is going to be like the thing you want to trip most in Google SEO. All right. So this is my H1 tag on my website, but I have all these other like subsections like here, or, you know, let's see, I'll keep scrolling like here that are H2. All right. Why choose us? That's probably H2. Et cetera, et cetera. And so I think it makes sense to basically filter all this HTML out for just anything in between our H2 tag. All right. And then from there, we cut all the fat out and we can feed all those H2s into OpenAI for a much more easily digestible piece of data to manipulate. Okay. Why am I picking H2s and not H3s? I don't know. We could potentially do H3s. We could potentially do both. But I think for this example, we're just going to do H2s and see how it works. And if we need to adjust, we can actually filter for H3s. All right, so I hope I did a good enough job explaining that. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop in a text parser, and it's going to be a match pattern advanced module. Global match, yes. Case sensitive, yes. Multiline, no. And then we need our pattern. Okay, so what's our pattern going to be? Well, again, our pattern is going to be anything in between H2 tags. So I'm going to come to chat and basically say, hey, I'm writing a formula to grab any text between my H2 tags on my website with a regex expression. What should I use? And it should just tell us kind of what we need to do for our formula, which looks something like this. Okay, so we'll copy this in and see if this works. All right, so that's the pattern we want to follow. All right, that's basically saying grab anything, any of these weird characters here, in between our H2 tag. Okay, so we'll see how that works. And then text, we're going to feed in our text. We're actually going to feed in our HTML, so our data here. Okay, so it's going to search our data and pull out anything with an H2 or in between an H2 tag. Okay, so let's save this. Let's run it and just see what we get here. Let's see if that works. Okay, so operation 1. Okay, this is looking good. So you can see we input our HTML. We're looking for this pattern, and then we got for this website, and I can see what website this is. Which website is this? Okay, so this is still our pros specs, however you say that. I can't say that. But we can see that we have 5 different H2 tags on their homepage. And in each of those, we can see text. So the cheat code for business growth. So if I come back, we can see where this is. Let's see. Cheat code. So here we go. Cheat code for business growth. So there's an H2. All right. So we pulled that in. So that's looking good. And the next one is the cheat code for business growth again. Get started. All rights reserved. And then some kind of junk here. Okay. So again, some of these websites, it's going to be limited. So maybe we do an H3, and we can even potentially just try that out and just see if that works a little better. Let's change this to H3 and see what we get. Every website's going to be a little different, just depending on if they're using H2 or H3 tags. And we actually didn't get anything from that one. So it looks like they're not actually even using any H3 tags. All right, so let's go to H2. This should work decently well for most websites. All right, I'm going to hit save, and there we go. Okay, so now that we're pulling out all these, and let me run this one more time just so we can see these bundles. So now that we're running this and we're getting these bundles out here, okay, and I can check opt2 as well. Looks like we only had one on the second website. Okay, so we're getting these bundles. What we want to do now is we want to combine these bundles into one string, so that we can just feed all of these H2 texts into OpenAI in one go. Okay, we don't have to like kind of run all these individually into OpenAI, because we're going to use OpenAI to basically rewrite this better. All right, so I think what we're going to do then is we are going to use a text aggregator right here. And our source module is just going to be this text parser. And the text is going to be our value. Okay, we're going to hit save. And we can see now that basically what this is going to do is it's going to take all of our bundles, which are separate, and each costs an op to process, and it's going to combine all of them into one string. Okay, now I want to open advanced settings here, and I want to do a row separator. I'm just going to do an arrow. I just find that works well. So space arrow, and that looks good. And so now I'll kind of show you what this does. I'll run this again. Again, we're finding websites. We scrape 2 of them. We then look for H2 tags in each of them to get these bundles. And then we're aggregating all of those bundles. So we have 5 bundles that went in. And now we just get all of that in text here that comes out. Okay, and they're separated by this little arrow. Okay, so the reason that arrow is important is because we're going to use that arrow as our indicator to OpenAI later on that these are separate pieces of text. Okay, so that arrow is going to be key. Okay, and I'm just going to add a space after this as well. Okay. All right, now you can see here that this is still kind of ugly. It's still an HTML. It's combined into one string. That's perfect, but it's still ugly HTML. So we want to clean that up. So I'm just going to add another text parser module here, and it's just going to be HTML to text. And I'm going to feed in my text from that aggregator. Okay, and now if I run it, you should, more easily see what we're doing here. So now we can see, and I'll zoom in here, that our output it's much cleaner. So we have the first H2, the cheat code for business growth. We have another one that says the exact same thing on the website. Then we have a get started H2 tag, and then a bunch of kind of junk that we don't really want to use. This isn't a great example, but it's much cleaner now. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I think what I want to do is I want to use a different website here for our example, just because this one isn't great. So let's see. Let me bump this up to 5, and let's see if we get some better ones. So I'm going to run this, and let's just see if we get better ones than these two, because we're not getting great stuff. Okay, so let's go to 3, and this one's much better. Okay, so this is looks like a medical company called Morphometrics. And you can see now that we're actually getting like real copy off this site, not just a few of them. So we're getting Morphometrics is revolutionizing health and wellness through advanced medical imaging. We could rewrite that to something better. At the heart of Morphometrics' innovation is a complex proprietary algorithm capable of transforming standard ultrasound data into unparalleled insights into the human body. That's a mouthful. We can rewrite that and put it into a report. So that's a much better example. But you can see here that like H2 tags normally give us decent stuff that we could rewrite. So again, we're kind of playing with it here, but we're just going to put this together. We can fine tune it at the end. All right, so just a quick review here. We are scraping Apollo for leads. We're doing 100. We're then scraping each of those leads' website if they have one. As long as we're able to successfully scrape it, we come up here to just grab all the H2 tags or the text in between those H2 tags on that landing page. We're then aggregating those bundles into one string, and then we're just cleaning that HTML up into a nice legible, text here with arrows separating them. Okay. All right, so that is looking good. Now that we have our data kind of cleaned up, what we want to do in the next step is we want to use OpenAI to essentially create for us a customized document that looks something like this, that is going to feed all those H2 tags, or 3 of them, into this document, tell us why their current wording isn't great on their website, rewrite it for them, and tell them why our version is better. Okay. And again, we just want to give these folks value up front in these cold email campaigns so that we can boost our reply rates. All right. So let's do that now. Okay. So I am going to copy an OpenAI module in here. All right. I'm going to break down exactly what we're doing here. Okay. So you want to connect to your OpenAI account. We're going to use O4 Mini. It's totally fine. And then we're going to do a bunch of different prompts. So we essentially need to train OpenAI to read this output here with all these arrows and all these H2 texts. We need to train it to pick 3 of them, rewrite them, and then give us the original text, why it's bad, the new text, why it's good. Okay. And we're going to do that with a bunch of different prompts. So my first message to, as the system, is you are a helpful, intelligent copywriter. Okay, we just want to give it some context of what it is. Okay. Then we're going to do a user message and basically give it the base instructions of what we need it to do. So I'm going to feed you a list of all the H2 tags from the front page of a website. I want you to pick 3 of those tags from the page that you think you could use, that you think could use upgraded copy, and rewrite that copy to be better, more engaging, and convert more sales. Our H2 tags will all be separated by an arrow. So that is how you can distinguish the separate headings. Rules. Our clients are enterprise, so write in Spartan, no frills tone that implies intelligence. Respond in JSON format only. For each quote, please include a reason the original is bad and the new updated copy is good. And then very importantly, we give it the format that we need. Okay. And so again, we want 3 different chunks. Okay. And for each chunk, for each quote, we want the original copy. We want why the original copy is bad. We want the rewritten copy and why our version is better. And it has to be in this format so that we can consistently and reliably feed each of these JSON keys or names into our templated Google Doc, which we'll do in the next step. But it has to be in this format. Okay. All right. And then 3, if I give you an H2 tag, but it is very short and you can't really upgrade it, don't use it. Or I'll say skip it. Skip it. Use the 3 longest H2 tags I give you. Okay. That way, like in that one example where it was just saying like contact us, we don't really want to rewrite that one. Okay. There's nothing really to rewrite. It's contact us. So we want to really just do the long ones where we can really show the lead the value we can give by rewriting like a real sentence. Okay. Continuing down here, we're going to do another user message, and now we're going to train the model. Okay. And so what I've essentially done is I've copied one of these. I've literally copied this and I've pasted it in here as an example. Okay. So as copy, and I've pasted it in right here. So this is what you're going to get as an example. All of our inputs are going to look like this to you. With these arrows, it's going to be like this. Okay, and then given this input, I then actually went and wrote what I kind of would want given that input. Okay, so I essentially manually did this, where I said, okay, look, this is the first quote. It's long enough. I can rewrite that. Here's why it's bad. And then I actually wrote a description that I think sounds good. So it's descriptive but a bit dry, uses jargon that may not resonate instantly. It also lacks emotional results, blah, 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 blah. Then I want our rewritten copy. And I actually manually wrote something that I thought sounded better. And then I manually told it why I think it is better, okay? And again, I did this 2-3 times, okay? So again, how this is working is we're feeding in an example input and then showing it with an assistant message, given that input, what I would want you to write, just to give it an example, and in what format you should put it out. Okay, and then I do the same thing again. I did a second example. The more you train it, the better, more consistent results you're going to get. So I did the exact same thing. I took another example, I pasted it in here, and then I told it, given that input, this is kind of what I would want you to output. Okay, and you can use ChatGPT to do a lot of this. You can literally come to chat and basically be like, hey, here's what the input looks like. I need it in this JSON output. Give me dummy data, and you can paste it in. That's kind of what I did. But anyways, I'm not going to go too much into the details here. This template will be available in my free school community, which I'll have linked down below, so you can always just go grab it from there. Okay. And then lastly, I do a user message where I feed in my text. Okay, I actually feed in my text from this. Okay. So again, I train it with a user and an assistant message. Then I train it again with another user and another assistant message. And then I feed in the user message with the dynamic data. And then it'll give me its output in its own assistant message. Okay. Now, response format, we want to do JSON object. We want to parse the response. I'm setting my tokens at 6,000. Temperature is 0.6. Okay. The reason I'm setting this so high is because we might have very long inputs here. I don't know, it's going to vary how much text or how many tokens we're going to use each time coming out of these H2 scrapes. We don't know how, like one website might have 30 different H2 headers. One might have 5. So, in order to kind of get around that issue, I have set up a filter here that is basically going to say, hey, make sure that our text here, all of our H2s, basically make sure that this text here with all these arrows isn't too long. If it's like super, super long, if it's over 1,000 characters, I don't even want to use it. I'm just going to skip it because I don't want to burn the tokens in ChatGPT. Okay. So I've got this filter here that's basically saying, hey, if that text is less than 1,000, let it through and we're good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to run this now and we can kind of start to see what types of outputs we're going to get from OpenAI so that we can start to either tweak that prompt if we need to, or if we're getting consistent results, we can then start to make our templated asset in Google Docs or our copy optimization report, we're calling it. All right, let me just drop in quickly and let you guys know that if you want this template, if you want this blueprint for free, I will have my school community, Automation U, linked down below in the description. It's a completely free community where we have builders like you and I joining every single day to get ahead in the AI automation game. I will have this template right here, this exact one, linked there in my school for you to download and use for free as much as you want. Okay, so get down there, sign up for my school community, and I'll see you there. All right, let's get back to the video. Okay, so we got one output here. Let's see what we get. And while it chugs, and we can see we've got results here, and this is looking really good. So again, we have original copy 1, reason it's bad, copy 1 rewrite, and copy 1 reason it's good. Copy 1 rewrite, reason it's good. Okay, and we've got 2 and then 3. And because we're parsing our JSON here, we can grab each of these little nodes in the next module we put in. So this is very important. We need consistent outcome that looks exactly like this. That's why we spent so much time training the model on how to actually format the outputted data. Okay, and so we can just check one more here and make sure it's working. And we actually didn't get one there, which is interesting. come to result. And this one's looking good too. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so now that we're getting our actual new copy, what we can do now is we can actually come into Google Docs, and we need to set up a Google Docs template. Now, what's great about Google Docs and Make.com is if you set up a template, you can dynamically feed in and create documents at scale by just pulling in variables, okay? So you can see I've spent a little bit of time putting this basic copy optimization report template together. All right, and we're gonna pull in the person's name, the date today, the person's company name, and then I've got some kind of fake stuff down here. We can make this look better. I'm not a designer. And then we kind of come to the meat of it. So this will always stay the same. All right, below are 3 real examples from your site, each followed by a quick breakdown and an optimized version of the same message. We put this together by hand for your company. It's a small preview of the value we could bring to your messaging. And then we get into our examples, and you can see for each example, we have variables. So original copy 1, why it's bad, the copy 1 rewrite, and then why copy 1 rewrite is good, okay? And we have those variables for each of the 3 examples, okay? And the reason we do it that way is because now, once I set up these variables in my template, now we can come into Make.com and we can do a Google Docs, create a document from a template module, okay? And then we can create basically unlimited documents from this template. They all look the same, just with that variable information pulling in. All right, so we are going to go find our file. So ours is called our copy optimization report template. All right, so let's see, it's in that folder. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's our template. And now it's basically searching our template and pulling in all of our different values. You can see each of our values here correspond perfectly to all of our variables here. Okay, so name, date, company name, et cetera, all the way down the line. And so now what we can do is, well, name, that's easy. Name is just going to be the name of our lead. Okay, so we can do, let's see, name. Date, we can just do now, and we can format that. So it's, let's see, date format, I think. Let's see, what is it? Format date, sorry, format date. And we can do now, and then we can just give it, you know, a cleaner format. Month, day, year. Okay. Company name, easy. Pulling that in from our scraper. So name. All right, and then original copy 1. This is where we're going to get here, and this is why it was very important to make sure that we are parsing those JSON responses here and making sure that OpenAI is going to return this exact structure every single time. That's why we spent so much time training it, because now we can just literally drop these right on in. Okay. And then original copy 2 reason bad, the rewritten copy, and then why the rewritten copy is good. And then do it one more time for example 3. Okay, so that's looking good. The title of the document, I think I'm gonna just do copy optimization report, and then the company name probably. It should be good. Okay. And then we're gonna store these in my, I have a folder here, so we're just gonna store those there. Okay. So that looks good. So I'm gonna save this, and then we can run this and test this out and see how it's working. Okay, so I'm gonna run it. OpenAI is going to write all of our different copy here, give us our reasons and stuff. And then we'll actually go make a new Google Doc from that template. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so let's give this a second. All right, that's done. And then Google Docs is done with the first one. So I should be able to come here now, or to my drive. Let's refresh it. We can see we've got our pro prospects. I got it now. And you can see we're populating in dynamically his name, today's date, his company name, perfect. And then if we come down here, we're getting actually examples here of copy from his website. So he has the cheat code for business growth, why this isn't great, our suggested rewrite, and then why this is better. Okay. And we do this 3 times. All right. So get started, change to schedule your enterprise demo, and then privacy policy. I guess that's not a great example, but we can look at another one too. So let's go to, looks like morphometrics, which we looked at a little earlier. This should be a better example. So Barry, same thing. And we're going to go see what we're actually cooking out here from OpenAI. So at the heart of morphometrics innovation is a complex proprietary algorithm capable of blah, 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 blah. Overly verbose and jargon heavy, the passive construction buries the benefit behind the technical language. You should write, our proprietary algorithm converts routine ultrasound scans into detailed, actionable diagnostics. This is better because it's clear, active language that focuses on the outcome, actionable diagnostics without unnecessary complexity. And it goes down and down and down. Okay? So this is actually pretty sick. Again, we're sending this to these people for free as part of our email campaign. And so, they should respond at a higher rate than normal. If we say something like, hey, you popped up on my feed, thought I'd take a look at your website. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to copy. I put together a free report for you. Let me know if you want it. All right. I don't know why anyone rational would say no to that. So this is looking really good, guys. This is looking really, really good. So now that we're kind of creating our asset dynamically, which is sick. And again, it's all happening automatically, which is just insane. We're creating our asset dynamically. Now all we want to do is we want to actually add this lead to our campaign and start sending emails to these people. Okay, so let's do that now. So what we're going to do next is we are going to do a little bit of AI personalization. Now, if you've seen any of my videos over the last couple weeks, you kind of know what's going on here. But what we're going to do is we're going to feed each lead into something called Perplexity, which is basically just like an AI Google search. And we are going to feed in their name, so full name, their title, and their company name. All right, and we're going to do it as a user. And we're going to feed that into Perplexity. And I'll show you this here if you've never seen it before. But Perplexity, basically, if you type in my name and my title, it basically searches the internet and tries to find any information it can about me. And it gives me all this really cool AI summary of who I am. Right? And so what we can do is we can feed this into OpenAI for each lead and write a custom icebreaker to further boost reply rates. All right, so that's what we're going to do here. So we're basically going to run that lead into Perplexity. And if I run this now and I type in my name, and we can just do a little test here and see what Perplexity gives us. All right, and so we can see, let's see. Okay, so we can see it's got the full rundown on me. All right, and we're gonna do this for every lead. So what we can do now is we can feed that into ChatGPT and essentially write a custom icebreaker. And so again, I have an OpenAI module that I'm just gonna copy over, just a template here. And I'll show you what I have written, just so you know. So kind of same thing, same structure as the previous OpenAI module. We're gonna do a system role message. You're an intelligent, helpful writing assistant. Write an icebreaker, a one-line customized intro for a cold email campaign. Use the provided data from a Google search as context. Your tone of voice should be casual, look for plausible but vague connections where possible. Respond in JSON only. Use this format, very important. Don't be overly excited. And then shorten company names to be more casual. Okay, and then we give it an example. All right, and then we train it with one user message here. So if you get this out of Perplexity, if it looks like this, I want you to write something like this. Hey, Erez, love the mission behind Freed and resonate deeply with the frameworks you talk about on your blog. Okay, so we just train it once here. And then what we do is we feed in the actual output here from Perplexity. Okay, so we actually just feed that in dynamically and clean it up a little bit. All right, again, response format, JSON object, parse JSON response, yes, temperature 0.6, okay. And that should give us a pretty standardized icebreaker maker, okay? So if I run this module now, and I basically just say, I'm just gonna give it some dummy data here just so we can pull it out. Alex Lishow left his finance job and started Automatio, his AI automation agency. And we'll just run that and we'll let it write an icebreaker for us. Okay. And so here's our icebreaker. Perfect. All right. And so now what we can do is, we're getting close, is we can actually feed this into Instantly. All right. We can feed this into Instantly and add a lead to a campaign. Okay. So if I come to Instantly, I already have a campaign set up, and it's just called asset-based campaign copywriting. Okay. And we're going to just add leads to this campaign. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for that campaign, asset-based campaign copywriting. The lead email is easy. We have it right here. Okay. First name is also easy. We have it straight out of Apollo. Last name as well. Company name, we also have out of Apollo. So that's super easy. Just map these fields here. Personalization, well, that's our icebreaker. So we can come here and just grab our icebreaker, feed that in. Phone and website we don't really need. And then very importantly, what we want to do is we want to also add a custom variable as we add these leads to Instantly that has their Google Doc link. Okay. And that way we can dynamically feed in that link to their email if we wanted to. All right. So I'm just going to come here, add a custom variable. I'm going to call it Google link. And then that value is just going to be our web view link here out of Google Docs. Okay. And we'll hit save. Okay. We'll save this and we're looking pretty good. So let me show you the copy that we're going to be using for our sequences here. Now I wrote this. I'm probably going to tweak it as I launch this campaign, and you probably could tweak it, however you need it to. But I'm thinking it's going to look something like this. So it's going to be our icebreaker. Wanted to run something by you. I came across your site the other day and jotted down a few quick thoughts on the homepage copy, just a couple of spots that might read clear or feel a bit more persuasive. Not sure if that kind of thing would be useful, but I'm happy to send over the full report free, of course, if you're curious. Best, Alex. P.S. I write copy for a living. This is the kind of stuff I like to nerd out on. So I think this is going to work. It's casual enough and it's free, and I think it'll work. I do have a second variant here that I want to test where I'm actually going to feed in the actual link. Instead of asking, hey, can I send it? I'm just going to give it to them. Now, this isn't great cold email, not etiquette, but process, because you don't want to include links in your first cold email outreach, or you're going to get flagged by Google or Outlook or whatever as sending spam. You're going to hit their spam folder. So I'm going to see if that's true. I'm not going to actually have a hyperlink like there. It's just going to be the text that they would like copy and like paste it into their search bar. So I'm going to see how that works. And I'll probably make an update video here in a couple days to kind of show you what's going on. But I'm going to try both of these and see which one works best. But it's kind of the same thing. I came across your site, just a couple spots I could read clearer. I pulled everything into a short little write-up here, free of course, no expectations, and that links straight to their Google Doc. Totally up to you if you want to check it out. Just figure I'd share it in case it's helpful. And then a little PS at the end. Okay, I'm going to follow up in 2 days with basically, hey, just following up in case my first note got buried. Here's that short doc if you want to take a peek, and I'm going to link that URL again. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm doing. Now, a couple things. One is we could come into this scenario and refine it. Okay, we're probably 80% of the way there, but we probably want to build like a Google Sheets database that kind of lists all of our leads here, kind of outside the system, just so we have like a report of it. And we could do that if we wanted to. I might do it right now. But I think for the sake of brevity, I think this will kind of give you what you need. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and I'm not going to do this on this video, but one thing I want to call out is this Google Docs shareable link we're getting out of our Google Docs module. If you attach that Google Docs link into our Instantly campaign, people aren't going to have access to that document without requesting access. So when you create, Google Docs and you come up to share, like you get this whole thing here, when you create with a template in make.com, it's just going to be like locked down. Okay, it's not going to be shareable. And so really what we need to do for this to work fully is we need to add another module here called Google Drive. And it's going to be a, let's see, what's it called? Get a share link module. Okay. And so what you would want to do is link to your Google Drive account. You'd feed in the file ID from the Google Docs like this. And then you'd set this to probably reader anyone. And then this would basically turn this document into a shareable link. Okay. So you want to do that. And then you would feed this shareable link into instantly. Okay. Now I'm not going to do it in this video because it kind of gets kind of crazy, but I just want to call that out there for you guys. Okay. So we're in a pretty good spot here. Again, we're about 80% of the way there. I'm not going to take you all the way there because we probably got another hour or so of just like cleanup and refining, and maybe we change it from H2 to H3 or H3 to H4, and we kind of play with this. But I think high level you can see how this type of system is going to be so effective because we're creating a custom report for somebody that shows off our copywriting skills. We are then also using AI to write a custom icebreaker, which is going to further boost replies. And then we're, doing 2 different variations here of our email to see which one works best. But this is going to work, and it's going to work great. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I think we're going to test this whole thing out now and make sure that we are adding leads into Instantly here. Okay. So I'm going to run this. Maybe let's do 15. And we're going to run this. And so we're going to grab the first 15 of those leads out of Apollo, as long as they have a website URL. And we're going to see if we get any errors. And then, once we do some error checking, we can, add some new filters, tweak things as we need. But this should give us a pretty good sense of how the system works. Okay, so we scraped the first website. OpenAI basically wrote all the fields for our document. We created the document. And now we're writing our custom icebreaker out of Perplexity. So we're looking that lead up basically across the internet for custom information. Then we're going to write our custom icebreaker and then add that lead to Instantly. And so we can see, what document is this? Copy optimization report pro prospects. So if I come back here, we should have a new one coming in. And again, we've duplicated this one now. And so, we'd want to probably check like a Google Sheets database to make sure we don't already have that lead in Google Sheets. So we don't like duplicate these. But you guys can handle that on your own. I have a bunch of videos on like how to set those kind of Google Sheets lead gen databases up. Okay. So let's see. We've got this one just got made, Pro Prospects. And I think we looked at this one earlier. But this is looking pretty good. We might want to include something in OpenAI to basically be like, hey, don't if there's links, don't just skip it. We don't want those. We just want text, like something like this. We probably want to get out of there. So there is some refining that we probably should do. Okay, we'll see how this is going. Are we getting any errors or anything, or is this thing? Oh, we did get an error. Missing value parameter email. Okay, looks like we broke this because someone didn't have an email. So I want to add another filter here and basically just be like, hey, if email doesn't exist, we don't want that. So if email exists, that should be better. Okay, so let's do this again and see if we get some better stuff here. I'm going to delete some of these just while we test because we're getting a bunch. So I'm going to delete, where's our template? That's our template. I'm going to delete all these, I think. Okay, and then we can see the fresh ones coming in here as they get made. We really do need to set up a Google Sheets kind of database here to make sure we're not duplicating, but it's fine. It's fine for this video. Okay, so we added a lead. Here's our Pro Prospects again. And let's see how it did this time. Okay, so it's still doing this one. I hate that. Still doing this. I don't like that. This one's better. So I might come into OpenAI here and just be like, hey, don't include that trash. I don't want that. Okay, let's see what the next ones are. Cloud Eagle. Okay, looks good. All right, original copy. Get 100% visibility, streamline SaaS governance, and spend less on SaaS. Jargon heavy and feature focused, lacks concrete outcomes, and reads as a generic list. Suggested rewrite. See every SaaS asset, enforce governance, cut license spend. Cool. Cool. I think this looks good. Here's another one. IT leaders trust us with their SaaS security and savings goals. Generic claim, trust us is weak and doesn't quantify security or savings. Suggested rewrite. Secure every SaaS app, eliminate 15% subscription waste within 30 days. Okay, cool. So that's kind of cool. Again, like your system is going to be different than mine, and we probably want to refine this OpenAI module, train a little more, make it a little better. But the idea is the same. Whatever asset you're creating, you can use AI to parse websites, parse case studies, parse their podcasts, whatever it is, to create custom assets for them. And then you can send that as part of an Instantly campaign. So if I come to Instantly now and I refresh, we should have leads coming in here. Cool, we do. And each of them has their own personalization with their own Google link. Okay, so it looks good. And it looks like I accidentally replicated that. So if I come to sequences now and we can preview these, we can see what we're actually going to send them. So Adam, notice something on your site. Hey Adam, Boulder, it's this company, sounds like a great spot for tech, and your journey from paid members app to Zendo is inspiring. Wanted to run something by you. I came across your site the other day and jotted down a few quick thoughts on the homepage copy, just a couple of spots that might read clearer or feel a bit more persuasive. Not sure if that kind of thing would be useful, but I'm happy to send over the full report for free, of course, if you're curious. P.S. I write copy for a living. This is the kind of stuff I like to learn down on. That looks cool. That looks great. And let's look at our second one. And okay, looks like I'm using the wrong variable here. So let me fix this. Let's see. I'm doing Google link, I think. There we go. Hey, Boulder sounds like a great spot for tech and your journey from paid members. Cool. Custom icebreaker. I came across your site. Just a couple spots I could read clear. I pulled everything to a short little write-up here, free, of course, no expectations. And then this. I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm going to try it and see if it does. The benefit of this is they obviously don't have to email me back to get the link. They can just see the link immediately. So anyways, we'll see how that does. But that is the system, guys. You could obviously run this at scale. We would want to hook this scraper back up. So all we would have to do, theoretically, once we kind of fine tune and de-wrinkle all that, those little things we need to fix, is you would just literally come here, paste in your search URL from Apollo, and this entire system is going to run, and it's going to make custom documents for you at scale with custom links, to send to all these folks automatically. Now, the last thing you want to do here is you want to schedule this campaign, maybe run it Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and then just start running the campaign. And then as leads get added here automatically once a week or once every 2 weeks, whatever your kind of cadence is, these folks are going to get emailed automatically with their own custom asset. So if you guys like this video, go down and smash that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing. I'm thinking about really making a lot of these asset-based cold email systems over the next couple of days because there's limitless possibilities here. And a lot of these systems you can sell for a lot of money. So I'm going to start cranking out a bunch of these for you guys. So let me know if you want to see anything specific, and I'll try and make it for you guys. If you have any questions or concerns, get down in the comments and let me know. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.